Before the horror films Annabelle, The Conjuring or Chucky, this series had told a mystery with a ghost doll theme. One night when it rained heavily, there was a husband and wife and their daughter who were taking shelter at Louis Vandrety Curious Goods store. This is Louis Vandrety. They then entered the Louis store and looked at the items on sale. Louis said the shop was closed. He looked uneasy. Louis reminded him not to be careless with the items in his shop. Their daughter is attracted to a doll. He then quietly took the doll out. The girl then played with the doll. The doll was magically able to talk and then asked her to be her friend. The girl seemed to really like the doll. Not long after that, suddenly came two teenage children who were disturbing. The doll then told the girl that she could do anything. And suddenly, the evil doll then injures the bullying teenager to death. The girl then returned to the shop and told her father and mother what had happened. Louis was angry that the girl had taken his doll without permission. Louis then chased them away.
Give me that doll. How much is the doll? I'll be out of here, quick! Out! Out!
I've never been so insulted in my life.
Louis looked nervous and then put the doll and other objects into a warehouse. Louis looked desperate because the goods he had sold were getting more and more victims. Louis said that he would not comply with the devil's requests and would no longer be responsible for the deaths of innocent people. Suddenly a strong wind blew in the shop, indicating the devil's anger. There appeared fire coming down from the stairs and the sound of people laughing evilly. Louis's antiques suddenly moved on their own and then a demon shadow appeared, attacking Louis. Louis was crushed and then fell into the infinite pit of fire. Louis' soul enters the demon dimension. Louis Vandrety is a seller of antiques. He allied with the devil to gain power in the goods he sold. These antiques can grant the wishes of its owner. But as a ransom, the antiques must ask for the sacrifice of human life. Hello viewers, wherever you are. This is Movie Storyline 90 channel. This time I will summarize the initial episode of the legendary mystery story series Friday the 13th. This episode is the premiere of the Friday the 13th series. Tells how Louis Vandrety broke the agreement with Satan. And the beginning of the meeting of the three plays, namely Jack, Mickey and Ryan. And how they become responsible for cursed items that harm humankind. What's the story like? Let's go straight to the storyline. Six months later. The story continues on. A Mickey Foster, this is the girl, was saying goodbye to his fiancée to finish the affairs of an inheritance. Mickey is Louis Vandrety's nephew. In his will, Louis bequeathed the Curious Goods store to Mickey Foster and his cousin, Ryan Dallion. One night Mickey visited his shop. Mickey entered the shop. He looked scared because the shop looked deserted and haunted. And suddenly, Mickey was surprised by someone who suddenly appeared wearing a mask. He turned out to be his cousin Ryan Dallion. This is his second play. They are cousins who have not seen each other for a long time, the last time they saw each other when they were little. They then chatted while walking around the shop. And they wonder why their uncle Louis Vandrety bequeathed the shop to them. They then found a warehouse containing antiques. While in the warehouse, suddenly heard a voice outside the door. Ryan came out and checked the source of the sound. And suddenly,
What was that?
the barn door closed and Mickey was trapped inside. Mickey is trapped and frightened in the warehouse. He sees something odd in the warehouse. Suddenly Mickey saw a doll that was moving and talking to itself. This is the evil doll that appeared at the beginning of the story. Ryan manages to open the barn door and get Mickey out. Mickey panicked and then fell. He accidentally grabbed a ladder handle. Suddenly something fell from the roof. They found a book containing records of items that had been sold by their uncle. Mickey is angry, and wants to sell all the items in the shop. The next day they opened a shop and sold goods at low prices. Many visitors come to their shop. Until there was a middle-aged man who claimed to have come to this shop 6 months ago. The man asked and wanted to buy a doll, because his daughter really liked the doll.
6 months ago, you had an...
Ryan then sold the doll. Mickey felt that he had a bad feeling about the doll.
This is no go. You said we gotta sell everything. This is everything, okay? Thank you very much.
That night, there was a mysterious man wearing a robe entering the curious goods shop. Ryan and Mickey thought they were being watched by thieves. They sneak up, and suddenly,
Drop it! Now!
the old man pointed a sword at Mickey and Ryan. The old man turned out to be Jack Marzak. This is the complimentary play. Jack is a supplier of Louis Vendredi antiques. He was surprised because what he met was not Louis but actually someone else. Mickey then said that Uncle Louis had died 6 months ago. Jack looked surprised and then looked sad. They then chatted. Jack tells that he and Louis are old friends. Jack was the first to teach Louis magic tricks to open Louis's eyes to the other world. Jack told that Louis was interested in doing a Duzan ritual. Duzan is a plea to the devil for wealth. Jack then asked about a book left by Louis. Ryan then showed the Louis secret rooms. They then found books containing sales records and another one of the Louis collection clippings, containing news in the newspaper, about the deaths that resulted from the sale of the antiques he sold. Jack then explained that Louis had indeed lost his life for breaking the agreement with the devil. However, Louis's possessions still have a very dangerous evil power. The story continues in a house, where there is a man named Harry Simmons. This is the person. He was the one who bought the evil doll earlier. He bought the doll for his daughter named Mary. This is his son. The story will focus on Mary. Mary is Ari's daughter. Her biological mother has died, and now she is being raised by her biological father and stepmother named Mrs. Simon. This is the family that appears at the beginning of the story. Mary looks happy with the doll. The doll can talk and communicate with Mary. Again, the doll told Mary that she could do anything Mary wanted. Meanwhile, his mother is, Mrs. Simon, looked unhappy. Because, Harry gave Mary a doll as a gift. Mary heard everything. And the doll spoke again, and told Mary that she could do anything. The doll begins to possess Mary's evil mind. Mary is playing with her doll. Suddenly, her mother came and scolded Mary for leaving her bike again across the street. And before that, Mary promised her stepmother not to do that again. Mary's silent. Her mother will take the doll and will return it to Mary 1 week later, if Mary can keep his promises. Mary refused, and defended her doll. She then ran out through a ladder. Mrs. Simon was angry. He then chased after Mary and snatched the doll. Mrs. Simon put the doll in the cupboard and then left. Not long after, Mary took the doll from the closet. Suddenly, Mrs. Simon came with an annoyed and angry face. Mrs. Simon approached and asked for the doll. The doll miraculously moves a roller skate to the back of Mrs. Simon. Mary pointed her doll to Mrs. Simon. The doll seems to be talking and muttering to make Mrs. Simon is scared. Mrs. Simon started to get scared and slowly retreated backwards. And suddenly, Mrs. Simon stepped on the skates and then slipped down the stairs and passed out. Meanwhile, Mickey and Ryan suspect that the doll has something to do with what happened to Mrs. Simon. In the ICU, Mrs. Simon got a fracture in his neck, so he was paralyzed. Mrs. Simon woke up from his fainting. Harry then went to call the doctor, and asked for Mrs. Simon not to move much. Meanwhile, the evil doll told Mary to kill Mrs. Simon. Mary then put her doll to Mrs. Simon's face. The doll smothered Mrs. Simon to death. The next day, Ryan and Mickey came to the hospital, and asked where Mrs. Simon was. They were shocked. The nurse said that Mrs. Simon had died of a heart attack last night. Ryan and Mickey are increasingly convinced that the evil doll is behind all of this. Harry was devastated by the death of Mrs. Simon. He told his neighbor named Esther, "This is the man," that he feels sorry for Mary, because now he has lost two mothers. Harry then went to attend his wife's funeral and entrusted Mary to Esther. Mary is playing with her doll. Meanwhile, Esther watched. Mary then asked Esther for a cake. Esther then gave her cake to Mary, and asked Mary to rest, but Mary refused. Esther tried to approach Mary, and give advice. Suddenly, the evil doll spoke and possessed Mary's evil mind. Esther was shocked and looked terrified. Mary then pointed her doll at the record. Again, the doll miraculously moved the disc, and threw it to attack Esther. Mary then aimed her doll at a rope behind Esther, causing Esther to choke on the rope to death.
Don't go, Mary!
Ryan and Mickey arrived at the time of the incident. They then broke in. But too late, Esther was already dead.
Are you okay?
What happened?
Mickey approached Mary, who was playing in her yard. Mickey tries to ask for the doll, but Mary has been possessed by evil thoughts. Mary directs her doll to attack Mickey. Mickey tries to advise Mary, and says that the doll is very evil. But Mary didn't want to give it up. Until finally, they were on a swing. The magic happened again. The swing was spinning. Around the house, suddenly came a very strong wind. That made them spin even harder. Mary and Mickey are in danger. Ryan comes just in time. Ryan then snatched the doll from Mary's hands. Suddenly, everything stopped, and the situation around returned to normal as usual. Mary was seen crying sadly and in pain. Ryan and Mickey felt relieved, and they realized that their uncle's belongings were indeed very dangerous. They then returned to the curious goods store, and stored it in the warehouse. Jack says that cursed antiques can't be destroyed, so they have to keep them in a safe place. Louis Venderdy's cursed items have been sold, and are a threat out there. And now, Jack, Mickey and Ryan are responsible for returning the cursed items, before it takes more victims. And, the story is over.
Where do we begin?
Oh my God.